so.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This week, as I said last week, that I'm gonna be doing a BTS review this time. So I'll be doing a Wattpad. Just so y'all know, all these stories are Wattpad stories. Don't expect a story from anywhere else for now. All of them are Wattpad stories. Because Wattpad is free, so why not? We like free things. So this story is a J-Hope fanfic, and it's called Confidante, and it's by, who's the author? I think it's Crybaby Barbie, something along those lines. I think, I'm not too sure, but I will be leaving the link for the book in the description box. So to get to the story, let's talk about what you're here for. So basically, in this story, it starts with Miss Gail. Oh, it's an AMBW too. Miss Gail, Miss Alina. It starts with her, like, she's meeting up with J-Hope, and they're going to have dinner because they're going to sign this agreement of theirs because they had met on the sugar daddy website, and he reached out to her, and now they've been talking for a while, and now they decided, let's meet. So then they meet at this restaurant, and he has a whole contract. Boy is taking the legal route on this thing. He has a whole contract with the terms and conditions that apply, the pros and cons, the young kintos, and they have the dinner, and she signs the contract, and then they get down to business. I mean, you signed the contract, why not get to what we're here for? So the sugar daddy got the sugar. So then after that, it shows that they've been together for about 4 months, right? And they just, Mugai gives money, pays her bills, she delivers the sugar, and that's just that. They don't really talk about Hosok's life, right? And then they were at her apartment, and then he leaves and he goes home to his wife. So we find out he's married, right? Sharp. And then we're like, oh, okay, yeah, cheating, infidelity. Okay, cool. And then the story goes on, and then we find out Uguti, the reason that led him to the reason why he cheated was because he had seen Uguti, his wife, 8 months prior to the present. His wife, she started being distant and stuff, and she would come home drunk, and she'd say she's staying late at work, but that's not the truth, and all these things. And then at first he just thought, would say, oh, maybe she's just stressed, and she'd always say that she's hanging out with her friends, and he was like, yeah, she deserves to be with her friends. I'm not gonna beat down her neck about spending time with her friends. It's a valid point. Just because we're married doesn't mean you can't be with your friends. And he just let it slide. But then he noticed that it was just getting more and more, because Miss Kelly would come home drunk, and she'd say that she's staying out for work, but then somebody would say that they saw her at a bar with her friends, and she just started lying about certain things. And then that's what led to him. So 4 months of dealing with that, then he was just like, you know what, nah, I seek comfort elsewhere. Because she would come home and she'd just go to sleep, wake up the next morning, rinse and repeat. So he's like, okay, I'm clearly not getting any from home. So what do people do when they're not getting any from home? They go look elsewhere. So that's when he did the whole sugar daddy website whatnot thing, and then he met Miss Alina. They had their little 4 months of what. They didn't break up. The story gets juicier, trust me. And then that happened, and yeah, and then we see him like starting to confide more in Miss Alina. So he doesn't just get there, get his sugar and leave. Now they actually having decent conversations with each other, and they, yeah, like they're spending more time together. Sometimes he'd even sleep over at her house, and they would actually like just talk about Bopilo, and he'd vent to her about what's going on, Kamsadwa Hai, his wife and everything. And Deboana, that would be that. So then they started developing a sort of relationship, friendship, companionship, comfortship thing. Yeah, Leo. It's like, and whenever he'd feel like distressed, he'd come and see her and they talk and whatever. Then we start seeing things from Veronica's side. Veronica is his wife. We start seeing things from, not Veronique. I'm always calling her Veronique. Victoria. We start seeing things from Victoria's side. And we see it was, oh no, before that, one time she was out, Busiu, and she was drinking, and he knew what she's always with her friend Katie. And he was like, you know what, let me just go to the bar that they went to, because I know there's this bar that they like going to near their workplace. Let me just go there. I don't want her to be driving while she's drunk. Let me just go get there, fetch her, and then come back home. When he gets there, now it's sort of like a line to go into said bar restaurant thing. And then Afola Laini, when he got to the front, then he's able to like see inside like the bar and see what's going on. And then he was able to see them in. And then when he was looking, before he even got inside, when he was still looking, he saw, not Veronica, he said Victoria, sitting on Katie's lap while they were kissing. And then he was like, oh, okay. And he never went in. He just got in his car and he went home. And now he's thinking, wait, so she's into girls. Wait, what? Boy is confused at this point. He's just like, okay, whoa. She could have just talked to me about this. Or like, was I the one that made her realize that she's not into men, she's into girls? Like, he was just confused. So then afterwards, he confides in Miss Alina, where I'm telling you and whatnot. And Miss Alina's just like, yes, if she's into women, she's into women. Dude. I can't say break up with her, she's cheating on you, because you're cheating with me. So I'd be a hypocrite if I tell you to do something like that. So then afterwards, we see things from Veronica's point of view, and it's her, she's at work with Katie, they work in the same place, and she's talking to Katie, and it just sounds manipulative, the entire conversation, because she's telling Katie, hey, her sock is nagging her, he always wants to know where she is, watch it. And Katie's there like, yeah, you know what, men just like controlling women because they just don't know how to be a man. They feel like they have to suppress the woman in order to feel like a man. He's just it's just like a whole ego thing. Don't pay attention to him. Bloody blah 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 blah. And at this point, I'm just like, girl, bye. Stop talking about shit you don't know. Shut up. And then, like, the thing is, she would say that her sock's always nagging her because he would ask, why are you getting home past midnight when you knocked off at 9 o'clock? When you begin leaving, 12:15? Why? For who? So, shoot the man for wanting to know the whereabouts of his wife in the middle of the night where she could possibly be drunk. Maybe get raped and dead in the ditch. Sorry for him caring. So then, we just, like, even when you read the comments, the comment section of this book, amazing. The people are just there like, girl, you're just delusional, please, come on now. This man is not even nagging you, he just wants to know where you are. Shoot the man for wanting to know whether you're breathing oxygen or not and to know whether you're safe. At the end of the day, he's still your husband. If some shit was to happen to you, he's the one that they're going to be calling like, sir, so your wife is dead in the ditch, please come fetch her. Like, he's the one who's going to have to wake up in the middle of the night and receive such a call. So then, after that, I just didn't like Katie and Victoria at all. At this point, I started rooting for Miss Alina. I was like, you know what? Yeah, Hosaki cheated, you're wrong. Mara, leave your wife for this girl because, wow, I like her more than I like your wife. So then after that, he gets a private investigator. He's like, okay, let me hire a PI. I wanna just know fully which kwenzakalani kahle kahle. Yo, the mosquito thing. Home. And then he hires a private investigator, and then him and Alina get closer and they get closer. Like they actually start establishing a proper romantic relationship. And then what happened? And then his private investigator calls him one day and he's like, okay, I have information. Come to my office. Let me tell you what's going on. He gets to the office, and then before the private investigator even talks, she's dating her girlfriend. She's with Katie, I know that. And the private investigator's like, okay, at least you know a quarter of the story. There's more. Sit down. Sit down. Trust me, there's more. And then he's like, okay, lay it on me. Tell me what's going on. And then the private investigator reveals pictures of, okay, so Miss Gail would go out with Katie after work, and sometimes during their lunch break, they'd be going out, they'll be holding hands, they'll be doing all these things. And at first, Hosok thought, okay, maybe he's with Katie, because the thing is, when he saw them, and whenever they're together, they are drunk. So maybe he's thinking, they always have to get her drunk for her to do these things. Can't they? No, Miss Gail would willingly be doing these things. And then, mind you, I forgot a tiny small little detail. Miss Katie is engaged to be married. She's getting married in a few months. Less than a year, she's getting married to whoever said boyfriend. What was the boyfriend's name? I forgot. Mara, she's getting married, Miss Katie. So she's cheating on her fiance with Victoria. They're cheating on, it's cheatment. This whole book is cheatment. But then when we got Miss Victoria's point of view, she was just like, things will be so much better after Katie gets married. At least I won't have to hide. And I'm thinking, what do you mean you don't have to hide? She's getting married. You have to hide even more. And the reason why she said that is because Katie, Victoria, and the boyfriend are all in a relationship. Bali 3. Miss Victoria, usile also conclude. Alola tababai 2. An engaged couple. And she was like, yes, I want a relationship with the two of you. And Lewan, Bajumela. Imagine. Could never be me. But anyway, then he finds out they were doing things. Okay, this part. No, I won't say it. You'll just have to read it. But anyway, then she reads it. He finds out all these things. Then he's like, okay, you know what, name? He tells the private investigator. He's like, Mamela David, take those pictures that you have. Keep them with you. I don't want them with me. Keep them with you somewhere safe. Okay? I feel like I might need them one day, but keep them with you. And the private investigator is like, cool. And then Hoswa Gyanong is like, you know what, at this point, I don't even feel anything for this woman, to be honest. I still care about her, and there's still love for her in my heart. But he can feel that he's falling in love with Alina. And he's just like, you know what, this marriage is basically in shambles. She cheated, I cheated, there's cheating everywhere. So let's just balance equation and let me just not cheat anymore. Let me just divorce. Yep. So he files for divorce. He meets up with but it's a lawyer. He meets up with the lawyer and he's like, okay, I need to get a divorce now. Okay. So then he would basically not even spend time at home anymore. And Leon and Miss Victoria didn't spend time at home. Hosok basically moved in with Alina. They even got a dog together. And he'd take her out on dates. Before, whenever they went on dates, it would be under Alina's name, so that the wife doesn't see Uguchi, he's going on a date with someone else. But then now he started putting reservations under his name. He started buying things with his own card. He started doing all these things like he doesn't even care anymore. He would take her out on dates in public, go parking by the beach. Gary Mans didn't even care anymore. He's like, you know what? If she finds out she sees me, I don't care at this point. Elina ngithanda wena, lo mfazi ngizomdivorca, so I don't really care. Anginandaba. She's literally having an affair with her best friend and her best friend's fiance. So I'm not gonna act any better. I'm cheating too. Mara ngcono siyiyeke because this marriage is not going anywhere. So then uyayenza. Soon as Miss Victoria finds out about the divorce, she tells Uhosok Ukuthi she's pregnant. And Uhosok is like, no, you're not. It's not my child. Now, Uhosok never, not once, ever showed signs he never showed signs to Victoria who he knows that she's cheating. She had found out that he's cheating because she saw Alina and Hosok on a date together with their little dog. And she confronted him about it. She's like, how dare you cheat on me? How dare you cheat on me? So now, the actor, I'm the victim. I'm your wife. You're cheating on me. How dare you? Right? Now, Hosok knows she's cheating, but he doesn't make that evident to her. He filed the divorce not on infidelity, but just, they fell out of love. Let's just move on with life. He just wants this to be as little. He doesn't want it to be messy at all. He just wants the mess to not be there. But obviously, then she brings up the infidelity. She files for divorce with infidelity. He's cheating. Sharp then Bayayenza again. She files for divorce, and then she tells her lawyer, Uguti, I'm filing for divorce because he's cheating on me and I'm pregnant with his child. Now, there was a specific night where Hosok and her slept together, but he had wrapped his willy, okay? He was practicing safe sex, okay? And when Miss Victoria is doing the things with her best friend's fiance, he never wraps his willy, so it's most likely Mugai's child. So Hosok knows in his head, okay, this is not my child, so I'm not worried. So he files for divorce. They both file for divorce, and then who's this? Oh, Victoria gets a PI to follow Hosok, and basically this PI gets all sorts of information about Miss Girl. He finds out where she lives. He has pictures of her when she's in her house. He finds out where she worked. Everything. So then she gets to court to Victoria and she shows these things that her PI had gotten for her. And then when the court analyzes everything, now when you give your PI, the PI must come sometimes and testify. Mara, whatever you are bringing, it must be information from said PI, and it must show the PI's records which they are qualified to be a PI. Miguel Victoria, the PI that she used, he's an illegal PI. Boy just came out of prison not long ago for stalking people and for fraud. She's using a PI that is not valid to be a PI. So whatever she brought to court, it wasn't made valid because the person that was the PI wasn't an actual PI. So whatever information she brought, it wasn't valid in court anymore. So then after she presents that whole infidelity thing, then they're like, okay, these pictures from your PI, we're not going to accept them because he's not an actual PI. So we're going to side sweep that. Do you have anything else you want to present? And she's like, yes, I'm pregnant. And then they're like, okay, let's do a DNA test. Because Hosok was like, man, I'll DNA test. No, so I'm done. How about the DNA test? Then they do the DNA test. DNA test shows Guti Hosok is not the father. Then Hosok, because to retaliate, because he saw Guti, his girlfriend is being stalked by his wife, and he doesn't want his girlfriend to be stalked by his wife. So now he also pulled out his own cards of Miss Girl cheating, and he showed pictures that his private investigator had, and with them they were valid because his private investigator is an actual qualified private investigator, licensed private investigator. So his things went through. Sharp. Then divorce is finalized. Hosok is set free. Then they had signed a prenup. So Miss Victoria is not gonna get anything from this marriage. So then they were like, okay, but you, Hosok, you had bought her a car, and then you guys have the house. So you can either choose to pay her per month for 18 months, or you can give her the house. And obviously he's like, I don't want her to get a dime of the money I make. Then he was like, oh, she can have the house and she can have the car. And then they were like, okay, cool, then we need one of y'all to move out in 10 days. And Hosok is like, give me 3 and I'll be out. Mugai, because Hosok saw Miss Elena is being stalked, then he got them an entirely different apartment. He was like, we're moving there. They moved to that apartment, got security, what. And then he showed proof of the lease to the judge. I have moved out. She can keep the house, she can keep the car, I don't care about that. Then after that, Victoria, when they went to court, so now they're fully divorced, finalized, everything is great. Now Victoria goes back to her 2 girlfriend and boyfriend, and now Mugai has always wanted to be a father, and he's like, oh, I get to be a dad. I'm so happy now. Now we find out okay, I'll get to that in a moment. Now. So Victoria is in the shower, she's showering. So now he's like, I want to see the paper that I was talking about, like her pregnancy and stuff, just to finalize in himself, yes, I am actually going to be a father. When he looks at it, he sees this girl was never even pregnant to begin with. She was never pregnant. In the beginning of time, there was no pregnancy at all. So now he's like, oh, so you lied to us. As soon as she comes out of said bathroom, of said shower, then we am confronted with what is this? Because this paper says whether you're not pregnant. Hosok is not the father because there is no child in the first place. What are you talking about? What's going on here, Victoria? And then she starts to explain. And then now they're seeing, okay, whoa. The reason why Miss Katie and Mugai are on Miss Girl's side is because every single time she would come to them, she would make Hosok look like a horrible person. She'd be like, hey. Ah, I forgot! There was one time for Victoria's birthday, they went to Morocco. And go Morocco, she beat Hosok. He had scratches. He had bruises. Like, she beat him. And he did nothing. She beat him for him to retaliate and also beat her so she can go to court and be like, oh my god, he laid his hands on me. But no, he didn't. He took whatever she was doing and he took his shit and just left. And he's like, you know what? You laid your hands on me. It's still domestic abuse. Because people tend to believe, they tend to forget. Because it's domestic abuse. Whether it's the woman laying their hands or the man laying their hands, there's hands being laid. That is domestic abuse. So he didn't present that in court, but then he had to show and he had to get stitches. So then they went back to the medical records Morocco, and it shows he came with scratches and bruises, and he had to get stitches by his eyebrow to show by his eyebrow and his jaw, show this girl is crazy. So now when Katie and Mugai find out she's not pregnant, now they're thinking back on everything that happened. They're like, so you are an abusive woman. You beat Hosok, making it seem, and then you would tell us that he hit you. You would tell us all this. She would lie about Hosok on a daily basis. And then now they're like, so we're out here protecting you from a man who did nothing to you. We're protecting you from a man who didn't even do anything to deserve the things that you did to him in the first place. Yeah, he cheated. I accept that. You cheated too. Everybody's wrong in the situation. Chitikali. But everything else, this man, he was nice to you. He was nice to you. This man was nice to you. And you made us protect you from something that you didn't even need protection from. We should have been protecting ourselves from you, And then when they were throwing her out of the house because they're like, we don't want you here, you're crazy. Then she started laying her hands on them. It's like, so Vela, you're abusive. That book, when I tell you that book is juicy, it's too nice. But then I'm telling you, trust me. Read the comment section after every chapter. It's amazing. It's fulfilling. Because those people are just like so funny. Trust me, the comment section, lively. Chef's kiss, 10 out of 10. But basically, they got divorced. Miss Victoria didn't get a dime out of her sock. All she got was the house and the car. She had lied to everybody around her, so now they don't want themselves anywhere near her. Her own parents don't want her. Nobody wants her. Now Hosok is living the life. He's got his dog. He's got Miss Elena. Everything is great. And then him and Elena get married. And everything is amazing. That is the only story where I condone cheating. Confidante. The only one that I condone cheating on. Anything else, cheating is wrong. Don't do it. Don't do it. Kids, don't do it. Don't do that. Actually, children shouldn't be watching this video in the first place. But yes, go read the book. It's amazing. Anyway, bye. On my body, I'm an icon, man. I'm a girl about a 10. I should fuck her.